Hello Pokemon fans, this is the first video for Ultra Sun and Moon. Hope you guys enjoy and we'll keep watching. So this match is against Endress and I hope I can get a good victory here. I first start the match with Araquanid and he starts the match with Pikachu. I guess he realized that I was going to start with him, and that was a good call on Endress. So I decided to switch out and put in my Stunfisk. And I got the prediction correct. I figured he was going to use T-Bolt to try to hurt my Araquanid. So he gets out of there fearing the Earth Power. Or I guess he just didn't know what was going to happen. So he made the right call. I should have use the Earth Power instead, but I'd rather set up the rocks first, especially with the Samurott coming in for Pikachu. So I decided it's a good time to use Araquanid again to try to set up sticky webs. And I'm not too worried about what Samurott has to do because Araquanid's just a very bulky mon. He's pretty good defensively and special defense. I wasn't really worried about any fire moves, honestly, because Araquanid, he's got the water bubble ability, but unfortunately my opponent gets the fissure off and it one-hit KOs Araquanid. So here I bring in Goodra and I want to set up, so I decided to use a focus energy because he's got the sniper ability. So you can get crits all the time, but unfortunately he uses Fissure again and it knocks out Goodra. So wow. So I'm having my work cut out for me now. So here I bring in Stunfisk to bait him, to use and to get rid of his fissures, and I bring in my Pidgeot. But instead he uses Earth Power. And luckily, Pidgeot being a flying type avoids the ground move. So here I Mega Evolve into Mega Pidgeot, excuse me. Become Jesus Bird. And here I use Hurricane to try to get rid of this Samurott, and luckily I one-hit KO it with Hurricane. So I'm down right now in terms of Pokemon, but I just need to play a little bit smarter than he is. So luckily the stones and the sticky webs go to work whenever Pikachu gets brought in. And here I bring back Stunfisk. Because I just keep thinking he's going to do a T-Bolt, and in which he does. So I read that correctly. And here I decided to Toxic because I wasn't sure if he was going to switch out or not. And I figured with Toxic I would get whatever Pokemon he brings in or Pikachu. So he does switch and he brings in his Lycanroc. And all the hazards go to work with him, and also I poison the Lycanroc with Toxic. And here I decided to pull out because I wasn't sure what it would do exactly. So I figured it would probably use like a ground move or something like Drill Run, but he uses Crunch instead, which was good on his part. But unfortunately with Celesteela, gets caught with a defense drop, and I'm not wanting to play this game. He's starting to get every RNG hacks there is. So I decide to switch out. I bring back my Stunfisk, and he uses Fire Fang, and then he gets the burn, and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, man. You're getting every hack possible. And I'm like, man, if you don't win the game, I don't know what to tell you, man. So luckily the poison damage is racking on with him, and here he uses another Fire Fang thinking I would switch out, but instead I saw that I took the Fire Fang fairly well, and I decided to just KO it with Earth Power, and that's one dead Lycanroc. So luckily I gave my Stunfisk leftovers, so the burn really doesn't affect it, it just kind of stays neutral. So here he brings in his Como, and the hazards that I set up go to work. And here I was imagining that he would do the Z move, but luckily he didn't. So I decided to poison him with Toxic, because usually these Pokemon are just better off being to poison them so they can drop health real quick. And here I switch out, and I think usually a Steel type's usually a little bit more durable, and it has good resistance against a Dragon move. So I decided to bring in Celesteela, and also it being part flying should have the type advantage for Dragon fighting. So I'm already under half health, but luckily with the Citrus Berry I go back to the green, but it won't take long for me to drop more health. So Komodo's getting hurt with Toxic. I decide to autonomize and get my speed up 2 levels, so I can start sweeping if possible. And Komodo just keeps using Outrage and keeps whittling down my health. So here he's confused, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is looking good for me. He's poisoned, the poison's racking on, and he's confused. So I use Air Slash, and I miss! A 95% accurate move misses, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And he uses Sky Uppercut, and he takes out Celesteela, and I'm like, oh my goodness. This guy is getting everything given to him. So I'm starting to get, the salt's real, and I decided to use the OU Pokemon that is Eevee. So here I decided to bust out the Z move. It's an exclusive Z move, so I can get the powers of all the evolutions into me. So Extreme Evo Boost gets activated, and I call forth all the Eevee Brethren. So I'm going to get all their powers like Goku would and try to use a Spirit Bomb and kill the bad guy. I'm trying to pretend this Komodo's Frieza or something. So here with Extreme Evo Boost, I get all of my stats raised 2 levels. So I'm sitting very good. But unfortunately, Komodo is still able to get through the confusion and do a Sky Uppercut, but luckily with the defense being raised 2 levels, I'm able to live it. So here I decided to use a stored power, and that will guarantee the kill on a Komodo. So now that Komodo is done, that's a big relief. So Pikachu comes back out, the hazards get back to work, and here I just decide to use stored power once again. And stored power only does 20% damage, but with every stat that gets raised, it'll raise twice as much. So you do the math, it does a lot of damage if you raise each stat 2 times. So here, I figured he was gonna try to Swords Dance or use a different move that wouldn't hurt me. So I figured the Wish would be a smart idea to try to heal myself, but he didn't want to have any of it. He brought in the Solgaleo, so the Solgaleo was like, no, I'm just going to kill you, man. So here I use Heat Wave with Mega Pidgeot, and I get it under half health, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And unfortunately, the Solgaleo's got its exclusive Z move as well. And my opponent is like, I am not having any of this. I am not going to have you doing a comeback on me. No thanks. So the Searing Sun Ray Smash is going to happen on the poor Jesus Burb. So unfortunately the line takes me to another dimension, and it goes down the fiery path, and it rolls, and it slices me into the next dimension. So unfortunately, Pidgeot could not beat this Solgaleo. So now Pancake, my Stunfisk, is the last Mon out there in the field. It was a 1v2. I survive, and then I use the Earth Power, and it's enough to kill it. So the Solgaleo's gone, and I'm ecstatic, but it's not looking good because he hasn't brought in his last Pokemon. I'm at 30 health and I'm burned, so it's not looking very good for me. So he's got a Mawile, my hazards go to work. And he drops my attack, but luckily my Stunfisk is a special attacker. So then I figured I'm going to go for broke, use Earth Power. And it's enough to kill that Mawile. Thank goodness that was justice, because all that hacks and everything going my opponent's way. I mean, the salt's real. It gets very frustrating very quick. So, I mean, it was still a very fun match. It was just so many emotions in it, to be honest, but it was a very fun match. So I hope you guys enjoy, and you guys stick around and watch the next video. Alright, later.